Ron,
All
you're
right,
on.
what's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. We're also on the fantasy. I believe we're on the Fantasy Stock Exchange channel as
Simulcasting, baby.
well.
Yeah, we're simulcasting. We're rolling.
Hell yeah! But we got Danny here from the Fantasy Stock Exchange. We're gonna run through a nice big board draft. We'll get some rookie takes off. We were just talking backstage about a Devy league we're in. You know, we both got rookie fever. We even got like high school recruiting fever. It's the best time of the year. How are we doing, Danny?
Doing well, doing well. And yeah, it's just like you said, the most exciting time of the year. If you guys, wherever you're locating, were able to spot the solar eclipse today, spark us something new is what I'll say. If that doesn't give you incentive to go out and make some offers in your Devy leagues, in your dynasty leagues, what are you missing out on?
No, 100%. I was trying to as well. We got Pesky in here already asking what's up, Ron. You get a blockbuster
Yo,
done. So I was saying I was looking through my teams and I wanted to get a trade big enough
we
done so
might
I
have
could
to
put it in
make
the
one.
thumbnail, but I couldn't get one done. I'm pretty much I have all my teams mapped out. I'm gonna wait a couple weeks. I'm still methodically sending out offers and stuff. We'll definitely get a video covering some of my teams, some of the trades I've made recently. It's just a matter of I don't know. I am curious with you, Danny. Like,
Yeah.
I think trades get done right now. I know we're going to get into a draft here in a second. Trades definitely get done, but it does feel like everyone kind of wants to wait for the draft before they like make anything like drastic or anything big. Like, I'm curious, like, have you seen trades not to a halt? Because I know you're trading all the time, but kind of how are you weighing that with like the draft? Are you waiting till then? Do you not really care?
Yeah, so for me personally, it's like I kind of already know my value pockets, and I'm gonna know and fully inherently understand what I'm willing to work negotiate with at this current point, understanding my rookie tiers pre-draft. But like you said, it's like in a lot of leagues that I'm in, people want to see the landing spots, people want to see the draft capital, and they would rather work with that post NFL draft market than the pre NFL draft market. I don't think it's wrong to work in either market if you're confident enough in your reads of the class, but realistically, because the draft capital is so indicative of what's going on, people want to at least get that confirmation before they trade, the 102 in their draft or the 108 in their draft. 108 in particular, I would say, because people kind of know, like, if I'm at 102, I'm going to take Marv. If I'm at 104 and I need a quarterback versus if I need a receiver, I'm going to go May Daniels versus Nabers. The 108 is the spot because, I mean, a guy like JJ McCarthy, for example, if he gets top 5 draft capital, the Vikings trade up for him, he's going to be the clear 108. But in some drafts, if Brian Thomas goes top 15 and let's just say hypothetically the Bengals or the Bills trade up for him, I could see other rooms having him as the 108. So I really do think it's fascinating to see just what happens in the draft and kind of how the market responds to it in each league.
That's the pick I was going to bring up as well, because we both are in startups right now with our patrons, and I think we both took the 108, like right around the same area. Because like you'll see, and now don't get me wrong, was I also saying this early on, like the top 7 are locked and loaded? Sure. But now that JJ McCarthy, like where there's smoke, there's fire. Like me and you, I don't know that we would take JJ McCarthy top 5 in the NFL draft if we were a GM and our jobs were on the line. But if he goes there, like that's as much as, like, as you just said, I think that you'd even be underselling him. I think that he would even maybe push a Bowers or an Odunze back.
I agree.
Yeah, especially with the Vikings, where people are going to get sold on the Jefferson, and like he just adds this whole other thing where now we get 8 like top 50 startup picks to pick from at the top of rookie drafts.
It's funny because if you were to poll a lot of people a month ago how you would value the 108 in startups, I bet you the majority of the people would probably say, round 6, round 7 is about where I would take the chance on a guy like JJ McCarthy. Guess what? That valuation is not round 6, round 7 anymore. We took them respectively at the mid to late 4th round area. I got, I believe, the 407. You got what, the 412, I believe, in your draft?
Yep.
And I think that market's going to keep rising. If JJ was drafted to the Vikings tomorrow inside the top 6 overall NFL draft picks, and they gave up maybe not the Trey Lance package, but a hefty package, let's say the Josh Allen package the Bills gave up a few years ago. I mean, just looking at the draft we're in right now, I took the 108 at the 407 pick. Tua went at the 311. I think JJ would go over him in terms of market value. And then at that point, you're really comparing, is it JJ? Is it Purdy? It's a Dak. And if he's in that tier in terms of valuation with a guy like Purdy, with a guy like Dak after the draft, like we're talking about those guys as going as 2-3 term picks in the majority of drafts that we're in respectively.
Yeah. The 108 was something that I would have been like, ew, like that's not really a pick I want like a month ago, to like now it's beautiful. But we're going to hop into a big board draft. If anybody's out there, use promo code Ron or use promo code FSC, whichever you want to use. Get you a deposit match up to $100. I believe they're doing something crazy. I really should be more on top of the email, but there's something going on. Yeah, there's like
airdrops.
airdrops for the championship, which is sweet.
Yeah, so if you guys are already signed up, just make sure you do check the app today. They're constantly dropping some airdrops. So, just every hour, every couple hours, check to see your transaction history because might have some money in there from Underdog.
Oh yeah. I think also I saw Zerk had his own little special for people that use his promo code. Dude, Zerk is killing it, man. Shout out Zerk.
Yeah. Dude, he's lapping right now. He's lapping.
Dude, he's single-handedly turned. I mean, he's kind of turned Underdog into, like he's I would not to glaze Zerk here, but he's really put on Pick'em. Whereas, like I remember when we first signed on with Underdog, it was very much fantasy drafts, and now it's like almost 50-50, I'd say.
Well, obviously it was a great marketing perspective from Underdog saying, hey, listen, like we'll get, the guys like Ron, the guys like FSC, Corey and Danny, all the players in the incubator, for Roz, everybody involved. They're going to push the best ball drafts. Well, guess what? The Madden creators who maybe aren't as, best ball, lineup fantasy, guess what they're going to do? They love watching sports anyways. They're going to make pick'em slips, and those pick'em slips obviously generate for revenue for Underdog too. So great way to attack. And I mean, obviously we both know how great they are in relations with us, man. Like they are the number one brand when it comes to, if we have an issue with anything, they correct it easily. They make sure we're feeling comfortable. Like this is a sponsor stream, but this is just genuine words, like from my heart, from my brain. So
no, they are the best. I will say as well, if anyone out there is, I wish I had pick'ems. Like this isn't going to be around forever. These college pick'ems, they're saying that they're going to tear them down. They're going to take them away. Get it while you can, man. I'm trying to see if anything like sticks out. I wish so badly I could do these, man.
Smash the Connecticut overs.
Oh, give me higher than 2 3-pointers for Cam Spencer tonight.
Easy, yeah, dude. I'm at the point now where yes, they're in the national championship, but man, like I keep like. Purdue is the most fraudulent fucking team I've ever seen.
Yeah, give me the lower. Give me the lower on 24.5.
Let's go.
Give me the lower.
Dude, shout out Brock. He was the OG Zach Edey hater.
Dude, give me where is he? There's this one big. They don't have him. UConn has this one big that I think is gonna pop off tonight. It's not Klingon. It's the other one. But all right, let me get back in this draft.
Is it,
dude?
filled?
The amount of big boards I'm on the clock in is absurd. Everybody, please, if I am in a draft with anybody in the chat and I timed out or it's we'll just take DeMario Douglas just for the hell of it there.
I don't even know which is the one that we just joined.
I know I can't even find it. Okay, there it is. Thank God.
There we go.
It's bad, man. It's
bad. Yeah, we're chilling.
It's
yeah, we're good now.
It's just what it has to be. I'm trying to max this thing out, man.
Amen, bro. Amen. Yeah, like once we're able to get, I mean, Bush is in Mexico right now, but ideally this summer, a couple trips to Buffalo, get the drafts in, got to get my exposures up, man. Like realistically, I'm just living vicariously through you and Spicy Hot at this point, getting my feet wet,
No, 100%, dude. I don't know how you and Bush do it. I don't know how the guys that get I don't know if I call it poached, but like
you cut out for me.
And everything. I'm hoping everything chills.
You're good now. Can you hear me?
Cool. Everything chill. Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't see my screen.
Oh damn. I see. I'll get to a couple questions. Okay, good, perfect.
Yeah.
Is this Dynasty? No, this is over on Underdog Fantasy there, Nicholas. I'm the one in this draft. You got a nice little CMC share. You'd love to see it. Let's go. What's it called? Keaton says he got in our draft. Let's go. What pick is he? KD 114 maybe?
He's number.
You cut out for me again. Just give her a little refresh. Yeah. Now, I'll get through some comments while we got some time here. Mock draft in April. I'm here for it. Let's go, Nika. You and me both, my brother. What's up, Ron? You get a blockbuster done for your... Oh, yeah, we went through that. Who's the expert that is joining Ron? Appreciate you, Portland. If you haven't seen me already, I'm Danny from the Fantasy Stock Exchange, from the Fantasy Stock Exchange YouTube channel. So you probably know Corey, obviously Ron. I'm here to join my boy Ron today, and we're also streaming on our channel. Looks like Danny in the thumbnail. Yeah, that's Danny from the stock. Okay, people are starting to recognize me. Let's go. Couple goats. Appreciate Dave. Spicy Hot. What's up, running lad? Appreciate that, Spicy. Sadly, I cannot control the screen share right now because it's on Ron's end. So I'll just get through all these comments. Hello from Timothy. What's up, Timothy? Had a league startup last week and already had like a dozen trades. It's been wild. That's the best part, man. Once you get the startups rolling and you get those trades going, man, it's not a better feeling in the world. 10-man super flex, no tight end premium. So I'm assuming you have a question below. You should make a video on trade values for every pick in the rookie first round, like 107 for players like Devontae, Achane, or DJ Moore to be fire. We actually did a similar concept on FSC too. That was a good time. A lot of
Penny
fun.
Is a pros pro in here, just holding it down while I'm trying to
do my best.
Everything gets figured out. Pearsall is who we got at the 108.
I'm cool with it. I was literally gonna say, I'm like, if we can get one of those running backs, or we can get Jefferson or Chase there, I'd be all over it. By the way, there's 2 names sticking out like sore thumbs here. I want to gauge your thoughts on.
I'm curious. What do you got? We'll see if Keaton picks. He goes
All
Achane.
The floor is yours here. I am cool for either of those top 2 listed wide receivers, but I mean, if you have anyone else, you can make a shout as well.
You know what? It's April. I think we just have to go Marv.
Let's go. Marv. We have to.
It's Maserati Marv.
To be fair, like people might, there's going to be nerds out there that are arguing, the market inefficiency. How much higher can he go up in ADP? And it's like, my response is MARV, Maserati Marv.
He's Marv.
He's Marv.
That's literally all it is.
Here, just to snipe Danny is, Spicy Hot's in here too. Let's go. Big shout out. Keaton got the 110 too. We love to see it.
I'm going to actually go full screen here. Hold on.
Sounds good. Venceeves also says he's the 102. Cool.
Right, hell yeah. We got a bunch of people in here.
Yeah, Godzilla. A little technical difficulties. We're all good now, it seems. We're chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling now.
Yeah. I mean, so far, pretty normal board. Is there anything that sticks out in particular to you? Because I was going through this when we were doing the stream on our channel the other day, but it really does feel like the top 3. Wow, actually, Chase goes above Tyreek in this draft. But for me, if you had swapped Tyreek and Chase, those top 3 feel pretty set. And then the 4 to 8 range, I would say, is the next kind of tier with Chase, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Bijan, Brees. And then from there, it's like, I love Puka. I love Jameer. I love, Kyron, et cetera, in that range. But it does kind of feel like a little bit of a difference to getting a Brees, Bijan, or above.
Yeah, nothing sticks out that's too crazy. That's kind of high for where Nabers usually goes. Also, let me know if I'm lagging, dude. I don't know what's up with my internet right now.
Sound good now. You sound good now.
Yeah. All right.
I'll let you know if there's anything.
I'm curious, how do you feel about, because some people seem very apprehensive to like Achane being this like early second pick. I'm curious where you're at on him.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to the overall board at running back here, just to take a look, like I would much rather him than Henry. I wouldn't take Henry in that spot, but I would say, like, if you want to argue amongst like Josh Jacobs, I'd probably take Jacobs slightly over him just because I expect a good workload there. Obviously, the Packers I expect to be one of the most improved offenses going to next year based off how Jordan Love looked both at the tail end of last year and in the playoffs. But at the same time, it's like that's like a debatable area. I really do feel like Devon Achane laps the other guys in that range when it comes to Henry, when it comes to James Cook, et cetera. There, I believe those were the top names.
Yeah. It's kind of like a simple take, but in best ball, I do just love the idea of Achane. Like,
oh yeah,
he might just put you over the top in like a week you really need it. Like I could see him being a week 14. He gets you into the finish line. So for that, I don't mind paying a premium for him. I also do think that there is some upside where if like the Dolphins just do absolutely nothing at running back in the draft and they're just going to roll Mostert and Achane. I know Mostert just got paid, man, but like he's old as hell.
Injury prone. He's also injury prone for sure.
Yeah. Like last year was like the only year that he stayed healthy and like scored touchdowns, like 2 things he doesn't usually do as like a 195-pound back who's like 30 at this point. So
yeah,
I don't mind that at all.
I agree as well there. With Achane, obviously he is the best ball archetype. I mean, we saw it. He's the type of guy where he doesn't need a ton of touches to potentially have a huge high ceiling, I would say. So with Devon Achane, you can say, yeah, he only got 12 opportunities per game, but he busted out an 80-yard touchdown and was usable that week. You know what I'm saying? So getting sniped on Evans there really sucks.
Yeah. I don't have a favorite here. Does anything stick out to you?
I mean, player-wise, it's Laporta, but the problem is I really like the other tight end values in the next tier, like especially like Pitts in the 6th. So I would say Laporta are your favorite receiver there.
No, let's go Laporta. I find myself not getting enough of him for that exact reason that you said, where I do love this range of like Kelsey, McBride, Andrews, but at the same time, you don't want to get out of Laporta, Yeah, Pitts, Bowers, like there's a lot of dudes.
For sure. Plus, I mean, like the theory there too is the receivers in this range are relatively similar. That getting the tight end advantage now and seeing kind of what falls back to you, because I mean, we see Devontae Smith and Michael Pittman go right here, but if you scroll a couple names down at wide receiver, I can make the claim that they're just as good bets in that mid 4th round area. Especially is Rome Odunze available? Like Rome Odunze is available, man. Like if it might come to the point where post NFL draft, like I mean, it depends where his ADP is, obviously, because I really do feel like he's going to be a guy that rises once people see the top 10 capital and the potential spots you can get. Because realistically, in the range of outcomes for Rome, he's going to be a target alpha on the Giants. He's going to have Justin Herbert. He's going to have Kyler Murray, or he's going to potentially be the eventual number 1 there in this year with the Tennessee Titans, who just hired Brian Callahan and have an upswing type of quarterback there with Will Levis that can push the ball down the field. There's really no possible landing spots other than maybe Chicago due to target competition. But then again, in a best ball, you have Caleb Williams and the spike weeks there, where I can really say he's going to lose value from a mid 4th round type of valuation now. Plus, to be honest, just based on my own evaluation, I really do feel like Rome is close to those top 2. Yes, I do prefer Marvin. Yes, I do prefer Malik, but we're talking about the difference between going at the 210 versus going at potentially the 4-5 between Malik and Rome. And me personally, I just love Rome at that cost.
Yeah, I will say that one of the landing spots that wouldn't be great would be the Jets. I could easily see them trading up and grabbing him. We'll see what the Jets do, man. The Jets always surprise me. I thought Broderick Jones was for sure the pick last year, and Will McDonald, man. God damn. Every time that I remember that they picked Will McDonald, like I want to punch a hole in the wall. I still cannot get over that pick.
Hey, man,
just to bring on Hassan Reddick. Like I just don't understand. I know that they rotate edge, but like, God damn it, man.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, as much as I love my Michigan Wolverines, us taking Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker 1-2 last year wasn't great.
Yeah. And I'm still seeing like people being like, Cowboys might still draft like interior D-line just because like Mozzie Smith wasn't great.
I have a hard time seeing us actually pulling the trigger. Also, my vote here is either Rome, Higgins, or Lamar. Personally,
let's do Rome. We were gassing up Rome.
Love it. We'll
make Kratos proud there, even though you called him wide receiver 3 earlier.
For real, he's probably watching. Probably was ready to type it up until we picked him.
It's crazy, dude.
The other thing I want to ask you, so me and Bush actually got into this debate in the last draft we did, and it's funny because we do see Malik actually go 9 picks over Evans in this specific draft. But the last time we did this ADP, both of them were kind of going at that 30th, 31st overall slot. I was on Team Nabers, but I kind of want to ask you, if you had to make that choice, whether it's, the 2-3 turn or just straight up period, would you take Malik or would you take Mike Evans in this format?
Man, I got to be honest. I would take Malik Nabers, and
that's where I'm at.
Mike Evans is really tough sell for me, man. Like I was actually like out on the limb. Like I remember like not butting heads, but I remember sort of talk like just like fun, jabs with Josh Norris because he wasn't really a big fan of Mike Evans or the offense. And I was just like, dude, like it's Mike Evans. He's never not had 1,000-yard season. You're getting him in round 7. Like just take that and shut up, man. Like that's really what I was on. But this year it's like he's back in that range that I didn't really like in 2022 with like Brady, where he was like a 2-3 turn. He's similar to Achane, where you can kind of sleep at night, where maybe he gives you a spike. Like he could be a bad advance rate player, and then in week 15 he could be the guy that you needed with 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on like 5 catches. But he's tough for me, man. Like I know that he sort of took not a step forward last year, but he proved last year that without Brady or whatever he could be good. But I don't see him as like a separated guy among this like tier of like Debo, DJ Moore, like Nico. He's tough for me. I guess I'm a little bit more open to him in best ball, but I would definitely prefer if I could draft him like 3-4 turn instead of like 2-3 turn.
Yeah, I think you outlined it pretty perfectly, to be honest, because unless you thought Baker Mayfield was going to be the worst quarterback in the NFL last year, the process of taking him in the mid third round this year versus when he was going in the 7th last year, like you would have to be just so much more optimistic about the quarterback position than you were last year. And realistically, like I thought, Baker Mayfield was a below average starting quarterback last year. Maybe I think he's an average starting quarterback. Does that warrant a 3.5 round jump for me? Not necessarily. So it kind of comes to the back to the fact I agree with you, where if I can get him in that early 4th round portion, I'm more willing to do that. But realistically, like the quarterbacks going after him, for example, like I still personally would take Hurts. I still personally would take Lamar Jackson, because I do feel like the difference between Lamar at 42 versus Stroud at 48, like I get it. CJ Stroud has arguably the better, or one of the best weapons groups in the entire league, but still talking about a pocket passer versus what Lamar Jackson has showed from a fantasy upside. So I do feel like there should be a bigger tier gap between Lamar and Stroud. Me personally valuing Hurts and Lamar in that, mid 3rd round area, Stroud more so in that, 5th, mid 5th type of area, I would say.
We actually lucked out because that tight end pocket we were sort of gassing up is all gone here on the way back. So we took our stab in the right spot.
Yeah, I am down for a couple players here, to be honest, because I mean this board is actually pretty lit. I'll let you make the call here. If you go receiver or just go running back, what do you think we should do structurally here?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. Mahomes is interesting. I don't mind. I was actually kind of looking at Amari. I don't mind 5th round Amari. I don't really have a lead. Do you have anything you like?
Do we want to Galbrain this? So the guy who took Kelsey picked before us. If we take Marquise here and hope Mahomes falls back with the 2 guys behind us, I think took quarterbacks, I believe, right?
I think we're better off taking Mahomes hoping for Marquise.
Right. Okay. We could try that as well. Because then we could always
round 5 Mahomes is sweet. Like that's sign me up every time. Like the thing that people don't understand is like Mahomes doesn't want to play football like he did last year. Like the regular season was a miserable experience for Patrick Mahomes. Like they don't want to have him have a low ADOT and run the ball and have like shitty receivers, which is why, they bring in Marquise Brown. They have a 32nd overall pick if they want to keep adding. Like, I mean, the last time Mahomes was this cheap was when he crushed in 2022, and he was like one of the best advanced rate quarterbacks. So 5th round Mahomes, I'm all over.
After Stroud, 2 picks above Anthony Richardson, who's coming off a significant upper body injury last year, I believe. What was it? I know it was in his shoulder. Was it his collarbone?
It was like grade 3 AC sprain or something like that, where he had to like get surgery for it.
Which can get gross. Also, I mean, the underrated thing, I'm glad you mentioned taking Mahomes now, because yes, theoretically, we could have probably played for both him and Marquise, but the fun part about this, man, is we don't know the landing spot for these rookies. We can just take a couple stabs and hope one of them lands with Mahomes.
Yep, you can take whoever the hell you want. I had them. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver at 32. But I do love the idea.
Oh, I agree.
Just for the speed and what Mahomes could do with him, and just like
that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Could you imagine?
We'll see. I'm thinking more
just
like Nate Wiggins
so much speed into that offense. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
like Tom goes 6.
The reverses, like everything in the red zone. We're on the verge of getting a very nice value here.
Yeah, I know what you're going to point to. I hope we get him. Alex, I know you're in the stream. Alex, I know you're in the stream. Don't do it. Don't do it, Alex. Don't do it. I know exactly who you're referring to, too. Yes.
Yeah. Give me Rashad White.
All day, bro. All day.
Rashad White pick 65. His ADP is 47.8. God damn.
We are.
You could. I don't care who that is. If I'm getting that kind of discount, bro, I don't care what that was. Like that. That's on my team. I will say I'm not the biggest Rashad White guy. If I'm being completely honest, I know.
I'm not either.
I think we've done a stream like this, and Bush talked me into taking him at like a 3, like the 4th round when he was like or that's actually his price. We just got like a sick discount here. Where are you at on like Rashad? Rashad White's tough because I do think that they're going to bring somebody between the tackles, and a lot of his production last year was kind of volume dependent. Like the receiving game usage was good, but he did. I think he was top 3 in rush attempts last year with like 270 or something crazy, which I don't know that they repeat that.
Yeah, that's what I kind of come back to as well with him, because realistically, I understand people want to say, efficiency isn't sticky year to year. We should be chasing volume, but there's also a factor here that when you're dealing with a non-day 1 running back, a non-top 50 running back, and he's inefficient, there's a very high likelihood that leash just isn't as long as, let's just say if Breece Hall had gone out this year, put up 3.9 yards per carry, I feel way more confident in him being the lead bell cow next year because of the investment, because of what he showed prior to that ACL, versus, for example, Rashad White, where you have 2 separate years now where he's been one of the more inefficient running backs in the league. But like you said, pays off in the receiving game, pays off with the spike weeks, pays off with the overall volume. Now, I mean, for what it's worth, he's kind of a gamble at this point, because if you can get him where we got him in this mid-6th round and they don't bring in major competition, maybe they draft, I don't know, a 6th round Ray Davis to give him some competition, then you absolutely profit. But however, if you're taking him at that 4 or 5 turn type of area and they draft a 4th round, I'm not a big fan of this guy, but a 4th round Braylon Allen or something like that, then at that point it's kind of like, well, shit, like if we're penciling in this guy for 8 to 10 carries between the tackles per week, plus possibly goal line opportunity, that hinders Rashad White a lot more than people want to admit.
No, exactly, which I think is like a real concern. I know Bush has sort of linked them to Ray Davis, which I think would actually be a good fit, and then
Good
also
outcome.
would hurt Rashad White a decent bit. You know, someone that could take like 8 to 10 carries a game, maybe some goal line.
For sure. I mean, it all really depends on who it is and when it kind of happens. Obviously, again, we do see outliers where, a 6th, 7th round pick potentially siphons some carries, but it's a lot more meaningful when they do it in the 3rd or the 4th round as opposed to later on, right?
Don't sleep on Sean Tucker. I know Bush was a big Sean Tucker guy. It is very interesting that they took Sean Tucker because he's like the same archetype as Rashad White, just like a fast dude who catches passes, not really between the tackles.
I mean, that guy this year is just like Will Shipley, right? Pretty much.
And I like Will Shipley. Don't say
I'm not a big fan.
The good man. I know you're not. I know a lot of people aren't. For me, I don't know. Like his metrics are pretty brutal. Like his missed tackles forced and his elusiveness rating and everything really suck. But if you just zoom out, he's a big guy who catches passes. 21-year-old early declare at a big school, decent pro day. I'm fine with it.
He checks a lot of box instead of the ultimate box. Instead of the ultimate box of if he can play football.
Yeah, he runs all the routes. Takes all the carries, all the touchdowns, but then it's like when he gets to the NFL, with day 3 capital, he's probably not ever going to be a guy who like has that role.
Hear me out. You know who my comp for him is?
Christian McCaffrey?
No, I wish. All jokes aside, this is a very similar in terms of how his prospect profile kind of went. A guy that was hyped up prior to the year, had good numbers, had a good prospect profile, ends up falling to the early day 3 portion. I'll give you a hint. It's an NFC team, and it's happened within the last few years. Can you peg the name to this running back?
Danny Woodhead.
The last few years he got drafted.
Just any white running back. I'm just joking with the white running back.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
The last few years. Could it be like Jamar Jefferson? I don't think it would be him.
Okay, so this guy was hyped up last year at the end portion because he was expected to like take the job, and then in week 1 he actually got more snaps, but just was irrelevant the rest of the year.
Hold on, you want to go Godwin, JSN, Watson, any of the wide receivers here?
Godwin feels like a falling value, but I mean,
let's go Godwin. We already have Rashad White.
Yeah, gives us a correlation there.
Who you got?
It's Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell. Bindle's got it. Kenny Gainwell is my comp for Will Shipley, and it's so funny because they kind of got that similar trajectory in terms of how they were obviously talked about as prospects throughout their cycles.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Gainwell in another world ended up being pretty sweet, but not in this one. That's really the issue. Because dude, what a profile, man! Like at Memphis, he goes crazy. I think he like outproduced like Tony Pollard as like a freshman or something crazy like that. Like I think he had like 1,500 yards, like rushing as well as being like a receiving guy. Hate to see it.
His production profile was really interesting, and I mean, obviously, once you turn on the tape, you're going to see the weaknesses in this game. But if you're looking at straight the production, straight the measurables, like you would have said, oh, this guy's a clear, top 50 level player, top 50 level draft pick.
Yeah, and then he fell, which is like the sort of the tell with a lot of these guys where if we like them a lot and then they go day 3, it's like they probably can't play. Unless your name's Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
Who was interesting.
I mean, the thing about him, like he's obviously going to be the outlier of outliers because people are going to look at the size of testing. But I mean, realistically, like it all comes down to like the intangible portion that we can't measure as fantasy players for the most part. Like I know some people want to say that they can judge character, but they're lying to you, man. Realistically, we don't know what's going on between the ears. We don't know what's going on in those rooms. So, I mean, if this guy was just, had an off day, I think he actually ended up testing better at his pro day. I believe he tested 4.71 at the combine, ran 4.65 at his pro day. And I don't know, man. You get that guy in the fucking gym room. You hope he fucking gets that speed threshold a little bit higher. And obviously, he didn't look like an evidently slow player when he got the rock last year. So he's just an outlier.
Any guy that pops out to you? I do want to get your thoughts on Tony Pollard after we make this pick. Anybody stick out? Like we could take a running back here. We could reach down into like Xavier Worthy's hanging around here if that's enticing.
I don't mind mixing in a Worthy because I also think those wide receivers are pretty dead otherwise.
Yeah, especially I like Worthy by far.
We're taking the shot that he potentially links up with Mahomes, and there's still some receivers that we really like too. Like I'm
right
sure
in that 32nd spot. Give me Xavier Worthy.
Well, Adney Mitchell is still on the board as well.
I think he's gone. No, he just went here.
Oh, okay. Then I do like this spot.
But where are we at on Pollard? I know, he was on the Cowboys last year. Last year's so tough. I imagine, you lived and died with the Cowboys last year. And it's like, how much is it the leg injury? How much is it that he finally got a workhorse role and just wasn't efficient? Like, how do you just kind of weigh like where he's like, because he did get a decent contract with the Titans. He'll be competing with Tyjae Spears, like a sort of a weird fit there too. Like, where are we at there? Because eighth round price isn't terrible.
I really do think it's the former you mentioned there. I do think it was a slow recovery from the injury, change in run scheme. Another underrated factor that people didn't bring up is the Cowboys actually replaced their offensive line coach. I believe they went from Joe Philbin to Mike Solari last offseason. So that had an impact. Obviously, Terrence Steele coming off an injury was not the same player at all after that ACL tear he suffered at the end of last season. And to be honest, I mean, the running back or the offensive line as a whole just regressed as an offense or as a run blocking unit. Now, the thing I will point is especially the first 6 to 7 weeks. Yes, Tony Pollard was evidently a worse player than he was last season, but I really do think like week 9, week 10 on, he was playing a lot better football. It just, we couldn't really tell because if you actually looked at his yards created versus what was expected on a per carry basis, like the guy was creating over expectation. The guy was breaking tackles. The guy was making people miss. But obviously, some of the plays that are left in our memory of this season is him not being able to get an inch further on the goal line to score against the Miami Dolphins. Like those are the things that sticks out. He had a historically bad ratio in terms of being able to punch in touchdowns inside the 5, inside the 10. And those plays, those money downs really stuck out. So that's why people are like, oh, did they miss Zeke? Because they feel like, because Zeke's a physical running back, he'd be able to convert those scenarios. But if you actually look at the numbers, like Zeke was just as bad, if not worse, in short yardage situations last year for the Patriots.
Yeah, it's such a weird situation. I do want to pick your brain because I do love the draft stuff. Like I've heard like where do you lean, especially with the offensive line? Because I've heard I've heard that they want to go more likely to go tackle because they do want to. I believe it's Steele who's like a more natural guard, even though he's like 6'6" and massive, or is it the other guy?
Basically what it is right now. So we obviously lost Tyron. So we do have a left tackle need. It's Tyler Smith. So basically with Tyler Smith, we obviously took him in the first round. He played left tackle when Tyron Smith missed so much time in his rookie season. And he was a solid guard. I would say he was about an average, slightly above average, tackle. He's a average, slightly above average starting tackle. But the problem is now we moved him inside to left guard in year 2, and he was literally an all-pro caliber player. So I always come back to it like you could make the claim that, oh, you want to kick him out to tackle and draft a guard because you think an interior player may be the best available for you at your picks, whether it's at 24 or 56. But what I keep coming back to, man, is why would you take an all-pro out of his position and move him to something that he's good, but he wasn't as good at as a rookie? Like you keep, in my opinion, Tyler Smith at left guard. You draft whether it's, a Mims, obviously, if you can get your hands, whether you have to trade up a little bit to get a Fatanu who can play left. You can get a Fashanu who can play left. Obviously, a couple of those players. It's just then it gets at the point now at 24 where are all those guys off the board and like your best tackle is like Tyler Guyton? Like that's the worry here because I would not be on board with them taking Guyton at 24, but who knows? The last time they took a tackle at 24 that I was a little bit iffy on, it ended up turning into Tyler Smith.
Yeah. And I have a follow-up on that, but we do have a pick here.
Yep.
We got Njoku falling. I don't really love that, though. We got Curtis Samuel. We got Caleb Williams if we want to take a swing. We don't have...
I'm not against Caleb here. We do have Rome, and there's a possibility they're linked up at 9.
I like that call. If he's here, I'm down for that. I will say,
that's good.
Interesting note. I mean, USC bias aside, I do remember vaguely Hayden kind of predicting what he thought best ball values would be ahead of the season, and he thought Caleb was going to be like a 5th round guy. Which I don't know if that's because he's a USC guy, but like I don't think it's all that crazy to think that he's right in the mix with these guys to produce right away. I really do think that his scrambling, as much as it's there, I do think it's overlooked. Where like he really like he runs like it wouldn't. I don't know. He's not the same physical freak as a lot of other guys, but it wouldn't shock me if he was like adding like 4+ points per game on the ground, where it's like a real thing, and he's challenging for like 7+ rushing touchdowns. Like it wouldn't shock me because he is such like a creator.
Well, I mean, you were the first one to point this out, but people have a hard time seeing, like, they think when you say, oh yeah, this quarterback is mobile, like they think you're talking, oh, he's giving you Kyler Murray production, he's giving you Lamar Jackson, he's giving you Jalen Hurts, he's giving you Anthony Richardson. It's like, well, no, because there is a difference between Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow types versus Kirk Cousins. Like, realistically, you could be a top-end pocket passer, but at the end of the day, in this day and age, if you're given 150 or less rushing yards, like, you need to be throwing 35, 40 touchdowns to be able to pay off at the rate. And realistically, if you're rushing in even 400, 500 yards, that threshold then drops to 30 passing touchdowns. So there is a big difference, even though people don't want to admit it. It's just creating more ways out, if you will, more ways to pay off versus a Jared Goff type, hypothetically.
Yep. And I think especially early in his career, we could see the rushing really peak, which is exciting because we're getting such a, I mean, not a massive discount. He's a 9th round guy, but he's someone next year who could be in this like Anthony Richardson area
for sure.
And you got to buy in early. What we got here?
Yeah. Who is available? I'm cool with either running back or receiver.
Got Sutton, Robinson, Chase Brown.
Honestly, my 2 favorite picks here would either be, if you want to go vet, Lockett, if you want to go rookie, McConkey.
No, we're getting so many rookies. Let's go McConkey as well, because like we're just covering all our bases for this Chiefs pick.
He's a Chief.
Yep, they're all Chiefs. They trade up to 33. They take McConkey and Xavier Worthy, and we're 2 rich guys. Now, I did want to ask about the Cowboys. Center's a need, right? Like I think they had bdge at one point, and he's gone now.
Yeah, so basically how it's reported right now is that obviously the first opportunity is going to come between like a TJ Bass and a Brock Hoffman, but I can definitely see them adding a starting caliber center, whether it's at 56, whether it's potentially, they don't have a 4th round pick, but maybe, I mean, they got bdge in the 4th round a couple years ago. Maybe it's a scenario where they trade up with their 5th to get a 4th rounder if somebody slips. Like I can see them trying to get a cost-effective center that can fit their scheme. However, I mean, if like Zach Frazier falls to number 56, I think you kind of have to pull the trigger there. It just really comes down to, I've seen people like mock JPJ at 24, and I would be okay with it personally, but do I think the Cowboys would take JPJ at 24? I think they would rather prefer taking a tackle or taking a wide receiver. They've done a fair bit of research into this wide receiver class. Obviously, there is also a connection. I don't think it happens at 24, probably more so play at 56, but Keon Coleman is the first, I believe he's the first cousin for CeeDee Lamb. Like there's a cousin connection there between Keon Coleman and CeeDee Lamb, and they've done their research with, I think, Brian Thomas, Lab McConkey, both the Texas guys. So because they're kind of interviewing those receivers in the 4 to 7 range, I really do feel like maybe it's a trade down from 24 to like 31, plus they get a pick upgrade or something like that. But I definitely do feel like receiver could be in play.
Yeah, that's what makes them so tough. I agree. I think receivers in play. I think you could even see like the tackle out of Oklahoma you were talking about, Guyton.
Yeah.
Like the question could be Guyton versus like a Graham Barton inside who played tackle at Duke, but everyone thinks he's going to be a center in the league, which like
I've heard he can play both.
I don't know how that's possible, but I'll just take their word for it. Jackson Powers Johnson. So it gets tough because like then we're talking offensive line. You then have like there's some needs with the interior of the defensive line, but like I can't see them doing that twice. Then of course wide receiver. Like everything feels like it's on the table.
For sure. And I mean, if that's the case, you clearly didn't do a good enough job in free agency, but that's a topic for another day. If you can envision so many scenarios of where to go with your prime capital in this draft, you didn't do well enough calibrating your hits last offseason, which I mean, I think we can comfortably say, despite, me having optimism for Mozzie Smith particularly, and, Luke Schoonmaker potentially as a reserve, backup tight end, like, you wasted prime capital to be able to avoid having so many needs going into the 2024 draft. So although, they're a 12-win team and they'll probably win between 10 and 12 games this upcoming season, like, it's hard to say they've stayed the same when they've had critical losses on both ends.
And you know why they'll win 12 to 14 games? Because of
Because
Dak
they got
Prescott.
number 4. Amen.
Yep. And as much as everyone loves to shit on him, and Cowboys fans, even some Cowboys fans are turned on Dak Prescott, and I'm sitting here as a Jets fan, like, God, I would love to have Dak. Like, that's a dream.
And one of Bush's favorite things is when I'm like malding about how Cowboys fans are dumb for doubting on Dak. He's like, yeah, but like, you overrate Dak. You think he's like the 6th best quarterback in the league. And I'm like, is that really outlandish to say he's quarterback 6 in the NFL? Like, he has the numbers of a quarterback 3 in the league. Like, I feel like I'm being pretty non-biased saying he's quarterback 6. And I've already acknowledged, I'm like, I think quarterback 5 to 8 is a very fluid tier, to be fair. Like, outside of, in my opinion, the freakazoid quarterbacks of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert, like, we're talking a tier, in my opinion, of Burrow, of, Stafford, of Dak, of guys like that. People want to throw Hurts in there. I think that's fine as well. I really do feel like that's a set tier. It's just people always either leave Dak out of that tier or put him at the very bottom of that tier for some reason.
I didn't mean to
Blakey.
Yeah, I took Blake Corum there. I know you're a Michigan guy. I decided, why not 11th round, make it happen.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I don't mind Blake Corum, especially in redraft. I do think right away he could just be a guy who comes in and is just sick.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially like, the couple of teams that he's been linked to, like, would it be at all shocked if like he went to the Patriots, the Chargers, and like that 2nd round, maybe early 3rd round area and just siphoned a ton of goal line work? Like, yes, was he more inefficient this season in his collegiate season? Absolutely. But A, that was coming off the meniscus injury. B, the 2 seasons prior just showed he was arguably one of the most elusive running backs to come out of college history. Like, you're just banking on him getting maybe not back to that full efficiency he showed the 2 years prior, but at least in the middle way between that and what he showed last season. And this guy has the best goal line ability in college football. Like, he's coming off a year, he ran for 28, 29 rushing touchdowns.
Yep. That's the crazy part, man, is like even off the meniscus, yes, the advanced stats suck. Like if you look at Miss Force, all of that, whatever. But like arguably his most productive season was off the meniscus tear where he like set records and was the engine for an offense that won a natty. Like
for sure.
He was somebody where I had a couple of games on the other side of that Michigan. The Alabama game was one where overtime he just took over and found the seam, found the end zone. Like he is somebody where I don't watch film or know who has the best vision, but I know Blake Corum has great vision.
And the thing about him is he got better as the year moved on. Like he kind of struggled out of the gate, which you expect from the injury. But like you said, the Alabama game, the Washington game, obviously the Washington game, people remember just how explosive Donovan Edwards was in that game. But you saw that sledgehammer with Blake Corum between the tackles. By the way, my vote here, Jalen Wright's still available. And I think 12th round is a really nice spot for him.
Oh, yeah.
We're just rookie FC, apparently.
Yep, rookie FC, but I'm very much fine with that.
I'm cool with it, too. I feel like we got them all at relative discounts, to be honest.
Yeah, no. We're not paying up for any of these guys, but Jalen Wright's fun, especially in best ball. We'll see where he goes.
Like, I'm just like looking at it comparatively, and it's like, I get it. Jerome Ford looked good, and he was like, especially like if you had him week 16, week 17 last year, he paid off. But with Nick Chubb coming back, I do think Nick Chubb is going to be ready. And did he go above Nick Chubb in this draft?
Probably.
I would take Nick Chubb.
Actually, no. I'm gonna say hell no. Yeah, no. Nick Chubb went round 9. Ford went.
Because the reason why I asked is I remember I seen Nick Chubb go in the 10th round, I believe, or 11th round. So I wasn't sure if he was falling a little bit. So that would make sense if he went in the early 9th. Like, what's his ADP right now? He's Nick Chubb.
He is on Flipper Cheese. Flipper Cheese 10. Nick Chubb, 92.5 is his ADP, and he went at 98. So about right.
So he either fell at extreme value in that draft, or he got taken. That was probably his ADP then, but that's fair. Makes sense.
Chubb's difficult. You seem optimistic that he'll be back this year and playing all right.
He's the type of stab I'm just going to be taking in best ball because I'm not going to be taking him in Dynasty unless I'm getting really good costs. And I'm like, when I'm saying really good costs, can I get him for the rookie 301, 302. Like I'm throwing an early thirds
Yeah.
at him, but he's kind of the piece where if I'm giving up any second round liquidity, I'm not buying in. And from a pure redraft standpoint with your home leagues, like this guy's probably, despite coming off an injury, like the guy's going to be pushed up the board just because he's Nick Chubb. So the way I'm attacking him is, okay, well, if he's going to slip a little bit in best ball drafts because people are a little bit more wary, and I only need the spike weeks of arguably a top 3 running back in the league on what should be a top 5 to 10 offense if it can get back to that full potential we had for it going into the year with Watson last year. Like he's the type of guy that can pay off dramatically. And we see Joe Mixon going in the 4th round. If Nick Chubb is fully healthy, I think Nick Chubb is a better pick straight up than Joe Mixon. You're getting that discount because of the health.
And just something else I wanted to bring up. I know that you and Bush love Xavier Legette. His tape is great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious, you got any Ricky Pearsall takes? Because he seems like somebody else that like my spreadsheets don't like, but like everywhere I turn, like Hayden has him as like a top 10 wide receiver. I know Matt Harmon just dropped reception perception today that I absolutely loved Ricky Pearsall. You like him? Like where are you at on this Ricky Pearsall guy? I saw like the one-hander catch that went viral with him, and he has like a shitty tattoo that I kind of love. What do you think about him?
Well, first of all, it's so funny you said that. He just like when you see him, he's like, oh yeah, that's your classic like frat bro, like 5th year senior. Like he's probably, slamming a bunch of broads at the University of Florida, sunbathing in the fucking summer. He's having a great time in that Florida weather. But all jokes aside, I mean, he's an interesting player. My comp for him was a guy like Russell Gage, where I don't necessarily think he could be a true 1, true 2 at the next level. But you're talking about the ceiling as a potential number 3 on an offense in an insulated situation. I really do feel like he can bring that complementary skill set. I kind of have him in a tier with let me see here. I have him in a tier with guys like Roman Wilson, Malik Washington. Let me see what I have here. Like
I will
Malachi
say we're up
Corley.
here.
Yep.
We got like Roman Wilson available. We can go Musgrave, Mayer, Otten. We could go Chandler, McLaughlin, Kendre, Braylon Allen. Anything stick out?
I don't mind getting. Do we have one tight end? I don't mind getting a second here.
Which one do you like between the?
Mayer.
Yeah, I like Mayer as well. That would be my vote.
We just got sniped on Marshawn Lloyd. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Because I know, obviously, from a spreadsheet standpoint, that Braylon Allen sticks out, and it really feels like I'm just anti-Braylon Allen. But where are you kind of at on him?
On Braylon Allen, I really like him. I wish he ran a 40, because if he literally just ran anything faster than a 4.6, his speed score would like maybe make him my RB1.
So you like him?
I meant my model is RB1.
Oh, okay.
If he ran under a 4.6 and then got drafted on day 2, he would be my RB1. Is kind of how I'll put it. But the fact that he didn't run and then likely goes day 3, I have him after Marshawn Lloyd. He's like my RB. I want to say he. The funny thing is, I think I have Shipley ahead of him in my last update. But like those are the 2 guys that I'm definitely caping up for after your like. Because I think we talked about it on Twitter, but like Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd, Blake Corum are like, of course, after Benson and Brooks, like those are 5 running backs, very strong day 2 bets. But after that, it's the Wild West. So I kind of like spreadsheet warriors of Will Shipley and Braylon Allen. Yeah, I'm trying to check right here. I have Braylon Allen. Yeah, Braylon Allen RB7, Will Shipley RB6.
Okay,
so I like both. We'll see where the draft capital gets.
So I thought I'd be way lower. So I have Braylon Allen as my RB10 right now, but that's honestly because when I went through the film of Isaiah Davis and Isaac Guerendo, like I was very impressed compared to what I expected coming in. Guerendo was the interesting one because I'm like, this is your classic, traits guy, speed, height, weight, speed. He's like, what, 220? You ended up running a 4.39, but I ended up watching him and I was really impressed with the nuance he actually had in his game for the inexperience that he has. Like when I was watching him, I mean, this is going to be a common comp because of his name, because of the Hispanic nature that it sounds, but like Isaiah Pacheco is your comp for him. And if he goes, I mean, I can see him probably sneaking. I don't see him going into day 2, but maybe in the round 4 area, I can see him sneaking into. I think he's a really interesting upside shot at that point. Not to mention, I expect Allen, Shipley, et cetera, to go on day 3. And the other one that I have rated high is I can't get over Isaiah Davis, man. I was so freaking impressed when I watched him. And I mean, from a number standpoint, I think I can let you talk on that as well.
Dude, Isaiah Davis, I don't think day 2's in. I don't know that it's in his range, but if he goes like round 3, somewhere nice. Like we're in business. I will say we need to take a pick here. I don't mind if you want to go Wilson or Pearsall at another rookie. We could go
Maybe
Mims. We could go
I don't mind
running
going a
back.
vet this time. I don't mind Demario Douglas in the 14th round either, to be honest.
I don't mind that either.
Like that feels like, I mean, the bet there is kind of, in my opinion, very similar to the year 2 Deontay Johnson bet.
Yeah, I like that call a ton. Douglas is very interesting, man. He was someone that he wasn't even on my radar rookie draft season. Like Demario Douglas, I couldn't have been less interested in Demario Douglas, but he is somebody, in the season I'll do those rookie wide receiver reports, and he was somebody towards the end that was really popping of like when he was out there, he performed in like a really shitty offense, but I will say I'm kind of optimistic about, as much as I hate to say it as a Jets fan, I'm kind of optimistic about the Gerard Mayo experience there. Like everyone's like very like people are gonna like cry, like not cry, but like push Drake May down if he gets drafted there. Like I can't get there. Like also it's one of those things where I know Bush is big on the nurture, however you want to say it. The Patriots to me seem like a well put together organization. Kraft is still there. Everyone loves Mayo. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And not to mention, I mean, I think you mentioned a critical thing for why I think Demario Douglas at that 14.6, 14.5 ADP we got him, 14.5. That 14.5 ADP we got him. You know why that's inefficient? Because that's kind of valuing him like his quarterback play last year. Like the Patriots, if they don't take a quarterback at 3, that's one thing. But I feel like that valuation is kind of expecting them not to have a quarterback. Like I can only imagine once they have either Jaden Daniels or Drake May added to this team, Demario Douglas probably becomes an 11th round pick.
Yeah, I could, like, the minute they get a quarterback, I think the sentiment changes. They could draft a wide receiver in round 2, and then like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this Patriots offense is like kind of interesting. And that's really all it takes. Like they're really not that bad. I will say it's interesting. I did see like, dude, the JJ McCarthy buzz is so crazy, dude. This guy needs to chill out. Like he's on 5 quarterbacks, please. Like don't get this thing canceled, man. Like you gotta chill out, dude.
We don't need quarterbacks, so we're set here.
Yeah, no, we're set, but like I don't want this thing scrapped. Like, come on, dude. I think they made the max 5 QB, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, they can't scrap this draft, can they?
I think they could. If this guy drafts more quarterbacks, they'll think about it.
So did he just wait? How many receivers does he have? Is Cortland Sutton his wide receiver 2?
No, wide receiver.
Okay.
Chase Nabers Waddle, which is actually kind of like a sexy start, and then he just
Mixon, Connor, Javonte. Why did he? Okay, I'm actually so cheesed that he took Benson in that because he just wasted Benson on that squad.
Yep, that's I mean that's how the Boomers think 0 RB's done. 3 wide receivers out the gate, and then you just say fuck them.
Well, speaking of the Boomers, bro. Speaking of the Boomers, they're gonna see our draft and they're gonna see all the rookies and be like, "You guys, you young 20-year-old fucking Zoomers, man, fucking whatever the fuck they want to call it, Gen Z, fuck." They're just gonna make every excuse in the book, like, "Oh, like you're taking the rookies way too high. Back in my day, we could get Marvin Harrison in the 7th."
Yeah, that's so funny, dude. Like the Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff. I mean, dude, like he's Maserati Marv. That's all you got to say. Like that's all that has to be said. But no, I'm curious too. Like the second round, it sucks, man. Like after JT, like Saquon, Garrett Wilson, like I mean, I'm not stoked to take any of these guys in the second round. Like don't get me wrong, I like these guys of like Marv and London, but like in years past, like round 2 has just felt more sexy. I think
Oh, right off the bat, I mean the two that stick out to me is Puka, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson would be your mid-second rounders 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd have like Jacobs and Henry pushed up to like here, and that would bring back like your Garrett Wilson or your Puka. So because remember, Justin Jefferson going into year 2 was a 2-3 round pick.
I remember that, man, and I got him a couple drafts, and I felt that was the steal of the draft, and just so happened it ended up being so. We'll make this pick, by the way, and I do also have to ask you a piece, and it's funny because we were literally talking trade discussions with this player in the Devy League, but I do have to bring up just how weird Stephon Diggs ADP is right now. But we'll make our pick in a second after Benu makes it, or Benu.
Do you have any leans here early? I don't really. I mean, we could go with a running back. We could go receiver. We're probably going to be a 2 quarterback, 2 tight end build. We have Zay Jones, Corley, Rashad Bateman, Devontae Walker, Jermaine Burton, Javon Baker, Boyd.
Baker's interesting. I also think McMillan we can get later, which is really nice. Because we don't need a quarterback or a tight end right now. So
I think we want to go running back because the wide receiver value is kind of nice in these.
You have Irving or Davis work? Irving or Davis, or maybe even
Bucky
Khalil.
Irving. Why not? I don't
Cool
hate
with
Bucky
that.
Irving. But yeah, the wide receiver rookie values are crazy because like we're at pick 176. You got Burton at 190, Javon Baker at damn near 200.
Check
Jalen McMillan a
McMillan,
bit
bro. It's
later.
insane.
I know
Yeah.
McMillan is insane.
The other one too that really speaks out to me, and I'm not going to say his name right now because we can get him at the end of the draft, but I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up after. But the other thing I was going to ask you, if you go back to the board, you see right here, Stephon Diggs going at the 2.9 and Nico Collins going at the 3.1. Not only do I think that should be a reversed, but I think there should be at least possibly a round and a half gap between them in Nico's favor.
Really? Oh, in Nico's favor.
In Nico's
yeah.
favor.
No, you're absolutely right. I thought you were about to say like I thought that Diggs maybe like 309 and Collins was here. I agree.
Yeah.
Diggs going ahead of Dell and Nico is a bit weird. I can't get there at all. That's actually really tough. So I think I would prefer Nico. I think it gets close between Tank and Diggs.
Well, I mean, you have to make the choice on the clock right now. Are you taking Zay Flowers or Stephon Diggs on your fantasy team next year?
I'll do Diggs there just for the hope of like the volume and just kind of like what that offense could be, because there is definitely kind of the weird thing with the Texans. You do have to sort of factor in of like, you know, the sort of thing with the 49ers where like if one of them gets hurt, then like it's good for the others. Like kind of Ayuk's rookie year. Like there's some contingent value there. Yeah. And people are sleeping as well, dude. Like Dalton Schultz was really good last year. I know as a Cowboys guy you like Schultz. Like, dude, Schultz is like he's no slouch. Like, you know, like, there's gonna be a lot of mouths to feed. As much as I like hate to say that, it is tough to sift through. I definitely, you know, second round pick. We just talked about how it feels nasty to take a second round anything right now. Second round Diggs is not fun.
Oh yeah. Well, like
any take here, we could go wide receiver. We could pound another running back.
So my two highest ranked rookie receivers here would be I have McMillan 11, Baker 12, but I'll lend it to you. I made the last picks. So I'll let you take if you like a running back. I mean, I think estimate despite the 40 time is also a really strong bet, but it just depends structurally what you're feeling.
Let's go Audric Estime.
I'm down.
This is the most rookie packed out team that I have.
It's either gonna win it all or it's gonna finish dead last in our pool. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, and that's a spot I don't mind being.
Hey man, we're playing for the nuts.
But yeah, the Diggs, that you're right. The Diggs thing is very weird. 209 is crazy. I would have him behind Nabers, Ayuk, Collins, Waddle.
I would take Cup over him. I would take Cup over him straight up.
Really? Cup is close. I'm curious. Like, I do want to see the reception perception come out on him, because like his was so weird last year. Where like
it just came out.
Really?
I can read it to you, and I mean, if you guys are Diggs fans, you might want to plug your ears because it was
really it's that bad.
Not bad, because obviously it's coming from fantastic,
for his standard.
But for his standard, I mean, if I go through the profile right now, by the way, I'm unveiling paid for stuff, so I just want to shout out Matt Harmon, reception perception. If you guys want to see the success by route, the route percentage, the layered ups, you guys can go check that out for yourselves. But specifically when it comes to the success rate percentile per coverage, 76th versus man, 67th versus zone, and 75th versus press. And we're talking about a guy that in his prime was clearing 90 across the board. So although it's, again, like on surface level, 76, 67, 75th, like that does play in a Texans offense. Like I can definitely still see him being a wide receiver too, but I'm not drafting a wide receiver 2 projection at the end of the second round, especially when you're dealing with a guy who is in his 30s and did show decline from the previous year. Like, I don't want to throw this name, but it's eerily similar to what we saw from Allen Robinson a couple years ago in terms of we're making that bet. Yes, we could pay off, or you can get the DeAndre Hopkins factor where the aging wide receiver does bounce back a little bit. But if it ends up Allen Robinson, not only are you not seeing a receiver that pays off, you're seeing a receiver that is a detriment to your team that you took in the second round. So I think for the risk level to be there, again, I still prefer Cooper Kupp because he showed last year that he still has that dominant role on that Rams team. He was still able to command targets despite dealing with injuries. And to be honest, I mean, it comes down to the fact that, yes, I prefer CJ Stroud, but I mean, a healthy Matthew Stafford is just as good of a quarterback.
Yeah, in terms of just like distributing the football, carrying an offense. And I will say, dude, like Slowick got a lot of hype to be a head coach, but like
he's overrated.
God damn it, man. Like the amount of times that he would just ram Singletary between the tackles on like second and medium and first and long and just run pass. Like it was very it felt a lot like what
Mike
the hell
McCarthy.
Byron Leftwich
Mike
over in
McCarthy.
Tampa, McCarthy, of just like god damn man, like just chill, like just throw the you got CJ Stroud, dude. Like I know he's like one of these like it offensive coordinators, but the crazy part is I don't think their pass rate over expectation was very high last year. And the hope is with this new weapon that, he'll use his, his weapons and pass more. But I do wonder what the pass attempts look like. Like, I think it'll probably be less than we would hope for, which is like a little bit concerning.
Well, I mean, the other factor too is yes, like you want to say right off the bat that the main the main weapons in this offense are going to command the ball, which they will absolutely. But at the same time, we're still talking about 4 main weapons there with the 3 receivers with Dalton Schultz. Noah Brown showed that in spurts he could be a payoff piece where, to be honest, if I want a cheap correlator instead of paying top 4 round prices for the top 3 receivers, you mentioned Dalton Schultz's name in this range. I'm cool with that there. And Noah Brown, if you want to take a stab in the 18th, 19th round with the contingent upside that some misses time, and obviously he showed he can have a 10 for 150 and a touchdown type of game in that CJ Stroud offense. I would just rather get my correlating factors later in the draft and take my point scores at the top if I'm going to take CJ Stroud at this point. Because again, I think CJ Stroud is slightly overvalued because he's going ahead of Mahomes. Like if he was the tier after, maybe in the 6th round, I'd be more willing there. But I'm way more cool drafting CJ Stroud than I am any of the non-Nico Collins weapons in that offense right now. As much as I like Tank Dell, as much as I like Stephon Diggs, they are much more likely to work into each other, in my opinion, than they are to work into Nico.
Yep, I agree 100%. I went ahead and took McMillan at pick 200, which is insanity. I did want to throw up on the screen here. I haven't actually checked this. Mike Clay's projections for the Texans has Diggs. This is actually kind of spot on with where we're at, Danny. Nico at wide receiver 17, Diggs wide receiver 28, Tank Dell wide receiver 30 here. In terms of volume, this is actually pretty good. 8th in dropbacks, 5th in attempts, 4th in yards, 4th in touchdowns. Not all that surprising. So I mean, like this is good, but like yeah, you can't take this at the 209. You simply can't.
You can't. I mean, honest to God, that I guess like in 15 games, but yes, I would just bet on the 25-year-old Collins who had over 1,300 yards in 14 games last year. Every time, and people might argue, well, with Diggs and with Tank back, like he's going to limit his ceiling. It's like, yeah, but I mean, he had over 1,300 yards in 14 games. Like that is not the player I'm betting against when the other player in this offense is a 30-year-old coming off a declining season, and the other one is a player who played 7 games the year before.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, honestly, he's being a little bit too modest with 26 touchdowns here as well. I think that could definitely, I know even games. in 15 games, it feels a little low. Like I think I'd probably have it flirting with 30.
Like what are the touchdown leaders? If I remember correctly, it was Mahomes and then it was Rodgers, Dak, I believe, in his projections. We can check it in the next page.
Yeah, I'll check it in a second. Obviously they're not gospel, but I do always like looking through them. Sure. Anything that sticks out here? I think we're kind of done with the. I know you had a rookie you wanted to mention.
The other one I don't hate here. Hear me out. Is JJ McCarthy still available? If not, no worries, because he could be a cheap.
Nah, he's not.
The other option I have is Bourne and then wrap around with Bo Nix if the Patriots take that, because we do have Douglas.
I like that idea.
Because if they don't take a quarterback at 3, maybe they potentially go the Bo Nix at 34 route. Like I can see that being the case. So
yeah. So we have 8 receivers. We could go probably another running back, and then we could go quarterback. If we think. Yeah,
I think we're set at quarterback, and I think we're set at tight end because we did. Who was our second tight end that we took? Obviously, number 1 was Mayer. Look, Laporta and Mayer, I think, does play. Like maybe because it's 20 rounds, you would want to get a third. But if we are left, holding the bag and we can't get another one, I don't mind just rolling with that because there are still a couple tight ends that I do like, and I really don't want to say it now, but I will for the content of the stream. I'm not going to, hide it from me. Greg Dulcich and Ben Sinnott stick out like sore thumbs in the last 2 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
You're Ben Sinnott guy too?
Love both of those names.
Let's go. Funny enough, Ben Sinnott actually compared to Greg Dulcich when I watched this film.
Really?
So, yeah.
Sinnott's fun, man. In terms of like tackle breaking and like some of the stuff that we're looking for in terms of just like, I'm trying to see where the hell the leaderboards are on here. I don't mean to give anybody like motion sickness from scrolling like this.
You're at quarterback projections, I believe, and then you can.
I was looking. I think that they usually have a leaderboard,
yeah,
category leaderboard,
so
passing touchdowns.
Yeah, passing touchdowns.
Mahomes, Rodgers, Dak, Burrow, then Stroud. I could see, dude. If you want to make a case to put, dude, I will say as a Jets fan,
Rodgers had 2.
I love what he has for Rodgers. I will say I think a lot of it is his, pre-injury, just like absurd touchdown rate pushing him up. I'd be a little bit more pessimistic than this, dude.
Also,
I'm having the most nervous flashbacks when it comes to this Jets season, man. Like I came in with so much expectations last year that now I'm just like, I don't give it. I don't know what this is gonna be, man.
It's kind of how I am with the Cowboys now, and I actually that's how I was in the playoffs last year. Now I was optimistic. I see 2 seed against a 7. You're expecting to win that game, and then I'm seeing, the potential second round they could have had they handled their business in round 1. I said, you know what? I can see us making the NFC Championship, but I'm not going to sit here and say we're the best team in the NFC because at the end of the day, every time we played the 49ers have beaten us. So I wasn't the fan last year that's like, yeah, we're going to beat them in the NFC Championship. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. I was like, you know what? I can see us making the NFC Championship, but unfortunately, if we play the Niners, we're going to lose. And the reason why I thought we're going to lose is the run game and Kyle Shanahan. Well, guess what? What killed us in the wild card? The run game and Matt LaFleur.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the pass coverage is just way worse than I could have possibly expected going into that game. Jordan Love had a perfect passer rating.
Brutal.
For sure. I mean, even still, Gilmore and, Bland and the secondary as a whole played well throughout the year. But the way that the Packers were just attacking our defensive scheme, getting guys out of position, getting guys confused in terms of their zone responsibility. We were a heavy man team throughout the year. And we suddenly said, you know what, let's run zone against the biggest mismatch orchestrator outside of Kyle Shanahan, possibly in the NFL there. Maybe, you put McVay there, you put Kyle Shanahan, you put, Andy Reid, but I definitely think LaFleur is in that type of tier. They just ran schematic laps around the Cowboys and Dan Quinn, which funny enough actually is a head coach in our division now.
All right, so we're up next. Do you have any leans here? I think we can kind of do whatever we want.
I like a running back, maybe. Is there any running backs?
Is
Isaiah Davis? I like Davis better if Davis is here. I'm cool with
Isaiah Davis.
Otherwise, yeah.
I think let's actually take Isaiah Davis here because I think Spicy Hot would snipe us on him.
He definitely would. He watches all the FSE in the world.
But yeah, dude, Isaiah Davis, I love the numbers in the film is lining up. He's someone who has a really good Lance Zierlein grade, which we've talked about. He's great at predicting running backs, but then also he's great at just predicting draft capital in general. And we saw he was high on Pierre Strong, who went 4th round. Sadly, I think that's kind of his ceiling is 4th round. We'll see. I'm still really pushing for that late round 3, a comp pick where it's in the 90s. Come on, give me it.
Hey, I mean, we're going to be having our draft day stream both at least day 1 and day 2. You're obviously welcome to come on when you want to hop in as a guest. But let's just say if on the clock in the 3-8-7, imagine the Cowboys just took Isaiah Davis. Could you just imagine the seeds in that room? It's ooh, did we reach a little bit? Yeah, but also I really fucking like this guy, so I'm going to be conflicted as hell, but I'll always end up coming to the fact that I'm like, you know what? We got our Tyler Algier. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, dude, that's the comp. He's so nice. For a guy in the FCS, he outproduced Pierre Strong as a freshman, down year, and then just 2 monstrous years. Looks the part of an NFL guy at the combine. Film guys like him. We'll see. I think 4th round is where he settles in, but even then, I think that's exciting. He could be somebody he's not as good now, but Dameon Pierce, where he's a day 3 guy that you're excited about.
Well, Pierce, I would say obviously Algier as a rookie, what we saw, he ran for 1,000 yards, and then the fucking Falcons just said, yeah, let's use a 1st round running back or use a 1st round pick on another running back, which makes no sense. But those two, and I mean, the optimistic projection is, could he potentially one day be David Montgomery? Yeah. If you could piece David Montgomery, I mean, I obviously, as a rookie, David Montgomery struggled from an efficiency standpoint, but although he's not flashing, although a lot of fantasy players are like David Montgomery, he's stealing all my Gibbs touches, guy does his fucking job on an extremely high level in the NFL.
Yeah. I think we should probably go running back here, a 2-8-8-2. Does that feel nice to you?
Yeah, I'm cool with a 2-8-8-2. We could also go with another quarterback here if we want to take Nix, but I'm down for either.
Oh, no, Nix is gone.
Nix is gone. Wow, he went at the last pick.
There. Unless you want to go Brissett and hope that they don't take one, but I don't know that.
I mean, even if they took like Daniels, I can see Brissett getting a few games, and I mean, this is a 20th round pick, so I'll let you.
Or do you want to go Sanat? I know you like Sanat.
I'm down with Sanat. Yeah. Let's take Sanat. Like this is too much value for him. Yeah, because the more I think about it, it's like potentially 3.5, 4 games of Brissett, or potentially a starting tight end for who knows, maybe top 50 picks in Cincinnati Bengals pick. Could you imagine he went to Cincinnati in the top 50, man? I don't know what his draft capital should land, but
I don't want to spoil anything. I had Crane on today to talk through some sleepers.
Yeah.
He loves Sanat so much so that if Sanat and JT Sanders both get round 3 capital, he'd prefer Sanat over JT. I don't think it's that crazy.
I don't think it's close for me. I have Sanat graded heavily over JT Sanders, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so I'll run through my grades right now, give you guys a little sneak peek, but we have this in our guide. So in terms of tight end rankings, obviously, of course, the unquestioned one, you got Brock Bowers. He ended up getting a 95.5 grade for me, which graded it as generational. For sure. But after that, man, Ben Sanat, 82.5 final grade, top 50 level talent in my grades. And then when we're talking about JT Sanders, he ended up getting a 74.5 in a top 100 grade. So I don't think it's close, to be honest. Like, I like JT Sanders, but I think he's far from a finished product. And to be honest, if anybody's going to be the Sam Laporta out of this draft class, it really sticks to me that it's going to be Ben Sanat.
Yeah, he's fun, freak athlete, produced, really good. I think it was him, Jaheim Bell, and Brock Bowers who had 12 or more missed tackles forced this year.
Yeah.
It's you want guys to have wiggle. He does everything you sort of need from him. I agree. He's someone that it wouldn't shock me if he was obviously we don't want the rookie outcome, but if he was like a Schoonmaker or Brenton Strange where you look up on day 2 and it's like, what the hell? He goes second round to, the fucking Jaguars. It's that. It wouldn't shock me,
For sure. And I mean, if we're just basing it off of those day 2 tight ends that we kind of mentioned, even if you include some of those negative comps of, let's just say, a Schoonmaker or, Brendan Strange, even if you include a few of those guys, the caliber of hit, if it's a rookie year Dolchich, or if it's a rookie, not rookie year, but second year Trey McBride, or rookie year Sam Laporta, or someone like that, is much higher of a hit versus if you miss with your 20th round best ball pick.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely perfect. We have Mayer in there as well. Mayer,
I do have high hopes for him. How do you not take Greg Dulcich at pre-round 18? Yeah, I will say Greg Dulcich's value, he should be a lot higher. And to be honest, him versus Sanat would be the 2 main guys I want to take in every single draft. But the way this one fell, of course, I mean, Isaiah Davis also falls into our left. Kendrick Bourne also gives us a spike week wide receiver where, yes, I would prefer Dulcich, but at the same time, I wouldn't take him 2 rounds over Sanat is kind of where I get to, though I think both have really high paths paying off, especially if the Broncos don't draft a receiver.
Yeah, I really like Dulcich. I just have concern. It just seems like Sean Payton doesn't like him at all. I know that's I don't love those kinds of takes, but it just does seem who the hell was the guy that he was preferring over him? It was he brought in Troutman. He had another guy that was this no name that was getting minutes over him.
Well, the other thing I will say is, I mean, he had significant injury issues throughout the season. So maybe it's just you know what, we want you to be in it for the long term as our main guy. So we don't want to overload you when you're clearly compromised, especially, I mean, they kind of knew right away that this wasn't going to be a top contending team. They started the season, 1-6, 1-7.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
It was Manhurts. That's who it was.
Chris Manhurts.
Manhurts is out there. Dulcich ran just 20 routes this year, man. You forget how little he actually played.
Which is hilarious when you consider just how good his rookie season was on both an efficiency and a per game basis. 411 yards and 2 touchdowns in the time frame he played. He played 10 games, I believe?
Yep.
10 games. Yeah. And he's listed, I just checked now, he listed as starting 6 of them. You commanded 5.5 targets per game in those 10, 411 yards, 2 touchdowns, 18 first downs on those 55 targets. And the reason why I'm referencing that, I'll let you kind of showcase a recent video you did.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Ryan Heath, dude. First downs, not something that I ever really looked at, but he kind of looked into it for fantasy. We talked about it last week on a video. Kind of just dove into first down per out run and why it matters. And it makes sense. You want a guy who's getting first downs and impacting your team more than empty, big play yards. So if you have a guy who's getting first downs, that's going to be as it's a little bit boomer, but like you want the guy, like the coach cares more about first downs than he cares about like just like garbage time, like big plays. Like you want people that are moving the chain, scoring touchdowns, giving you almost kind of like aspects of EPA for your team. So that's something that I've been looking at more from where if a guy has a good yards per route run, I do want to verify it with a good first down yard per route run.
Well, I think that's a good basis too, because it shows a level of clutch in money situations to potentially, convert a 3rd and 7. Like that does add value, I would say, to a player. And obviously, as a fantasy player, it's like, would you rather have, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or would you rather have Hunter Renfrow? It's like you could argue the archetype that MVS represents from an NFL standpoint, opening up the offense, is more valuable in real life. But at the end of the day, if Marquez Valdez-Scantling is giving me 2 catches for 43 yards and Hunter Renfrow is giving me 5 catches for 43 yards, you guys can do the math there. What's more valuable?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the final team. We do have the national championship happening tonight, so I'm gonna run out of here in a little bit. I have a little bit of a future on UConn. We'll see.
Really?
I hope they don't shit the bed.
Wasn't okay. So one of them was UConn national championship, and there was another. Was it Illinois Final Four? You also have?
Yeah, Illinois Final Four, which didn't cash, but like to the benefit.
Yeah.
Of UConn, but I'm gonna be clenching my butt cheeks tonight. It's like 40 to win 1,000. I placed it in November. We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. I'm scared of Edie getting Klingon in foul trouble. But we'll see. We'll let it ride. We'll root it on.
Well, I'll tell you about a bet I placed recently too before we sign off. Is I got this at good odds, and obviously it does hurt a little bit yesterday that with LeBron sitting out and AD getting hurt 12 minutes into the game, that they do lose that game against the Timberwolves. Because if they had won that game, they could potentially get the number 6 seed, and I'm assuming their odds would be smashed up even higher. But like I got the Lakers at plus 4,000 to win the title, and I've always been under the belief it's like I view Denver as the tier 1 team in the Western Conference, and I still wholeheartedly believe that. But after Denver, like 2-7, man. The Lakers, the Clippers, the T-Wolves, the Thunder, like all these teams kind of just work, like the Suns as well. They kind of work on a similar tier to me. And it's just baffling to me that as much as I like, what the Thunder and the T-Wolves have shown, I've shown in the regular season so far this year, they shouldn't be having half the odds or less than what the Lakers have at this point. Like they're under plus 2,000 and the Lakers are plus 4,000. Like, we just saw this team take the 7 seed into a conference title game conference championship appearance last year.
No, I like that as well. I will say a little bit. Look, if you want to make a little donation on wherever you're putting bets in, I do like plus 19,000 Anthony Davis to win Defensive Player of the Year. I know that'll be right up your alley.
Oh yeah.
I know Rudy's up there. I know Wemby honestly has a strong case. I've seen enough at this point. But yeah. I do like Anthony Davis. He did have that monster game the other week. I can't really remember.
35 and 24, I believe, or 34 and 23. Like just absurd shit. And I'm glad he mentioned that because again, like I still believe that AD is the best defender in the NBA. But honestly, like I went through this with my buddy and I said, listen, Victor Wembanyama, man, like 2 years time could be Anthony Davis with a pull-up game. Could be like basically what bubble Anthony Davis was. Only even better as a pure knockdown shooter, I can see Wembanyama becoming.
And then like almost like a half foot in wingspan and height. Like it's just like it's bonkers. Absurd.
Like
he dunked on Mo Bamba. He made Mo Bamba look like a wing, and Mo Bamba's a 7-footer the other night.
Like you're getting a bigger, more athletic version of Anthony Davis. Because again, I still think Anthony Davis is the best defender, but I think Wemby's like top 3 now, especially amongst bigs. Like you're getting potentially that with a higher ceiling. And when AD was at his ceiling, this guy was a top 3 player in the world.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Wemby is going to be fun to watch. But I do appreciate you coming on here, or me. I'm on your channel as well.
Amen.
Yeah, man. You could. It's always weird signing off here because we're on each other's channels. But if you want to tell people what they can find from you or what to look forward to this draft season, you can have at it.
For sure, and I'll flip it back to you right afterwards. So obviously, you guys can follow us if you're watching on our channel, you're watching on Ron's at the Fantasy Stock Exchange on YouTube. We're trying to come at you with daily content. Obviously, we've been a little bit lesser this week with Bush in Mexico, but once he's back, we're going to be pretty much putting up a video or a live stream per day. We want to make sure you guys have those subscriptions feeds absolutely filled. We will be streaming the NFL draft as well, at least the first 2 days, possibly part of the third day. So join us for that. And yeah, we're just having a ton of fun. If you guys want to, go follow us, we did release our draft guide. You can follow that over on Flock Fantasy, promo code FSC. But aside from that, I mean, I've done enough promo. I'll let you kind of promo a little bit from our end.
Hell yeah. I honestly think you and Bush might have more, or I know Bush usually does those you guys might have more player breakdowns than I've posted since the season ended, but it's all good. I'm out here, one-man show, trying to get the content out to the people. But yeah, man, I'm just out here in these streets, streaming with Danny and Bush, getting videos out. Fantasy football, dynasty football, all that good stuff is coming out here in the month of April. It's rookie draft season. It's the most fun time of the year. I'm a sicko for the NFL draft, as sad as it is, just because the Jets always suck, and I'm always looking at what's going on at the top of the draft. But this is truly the best time of the year. We have March Madness, then we have the Masters, and then we're going to have a 2-week countdown to the NFL draft. Stick around, of course. You can subscribe to Ron Stewart. You can subscribe to FSC. But as always, I appreciate you guys coming out here, and I will see y'all in the next one.